We're back with free thoughts on Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy.
Yes!
Welcome to the Isekai here. Read this. Isekai tier list.
Seki's Isekai Power Hour.
Be careful, I might actually title it that. We'll start off with recommendations, because I do actually have a few very specific recommendations that I think would go well with this. Like, if you enjoyed Tsukimichi, right? We've obviously talked a lot about the slime isekai.
Yep.
But definitely the slime isekai. I think also Uncle from Another World is a pretty good one related to this, although that anime is either coming out now or next season. It's not quite out yet.
Next, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, so that one, Seijo wo Marioko no Bano desu, or the Saint's magical power is omnipotent.
Oh, yes. That's always a nice one, but I wouldn't...
It's quite
very
similar.
nice slice of life, at least for what we actually saw for this season.
Yeah, but it is kind of similar in that I'm suggesting shows right now where the protagonist is kind of dumped into an isekai world and they're like ridiculously overpowered when they're first dumped there, or have the potential to become ridiculously overpowered very fast. Because that's kind of a very specific example in these things. So there's those, and then Overlord kind of fits that as well, you know.
Oh, can you actually say this novel name for me?
Yeah. Middle-aged businessman arise in another world, making a name for myself thanks to goddess power.
Yes. Now that will actually fit pretty nicely if you actually like this.
Okay. And then I've got a couple more. Kuma Bear. More slice of life, but very similar. Same with Bofuri, the overpowered character.
Yeah. It's not an isekai it's not an isekai traditionally, but it still fits. If you like the more lighthearted shows, then you like Bofuri.
I don't know, I'm still waiting for Bofuri to take the Sword Art Online plot twist.
Oh, jeez.
I hope
And
it
then,
doesn't.
Along the lines of, you know, kind of Seijo wa Marioko no Bano desu, there's Kimono Michi, which is somewhat similar. And then there's I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level.
Yeah.
And then... Oh, How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom.
Yes.
Definitely falls along the lines of a similar show here.
Yeah.
And that one's quite good. It has a second season. The first season's out already. It's done.
Yeah.
And then I'd say... Maybe the only other big ones are maybe Cautious Hero.
I'd say it's fine. I'd say it's fine. There's
kind
one
of.
that
There is a lot of jokes in Cautious Hero.
Yeah.
But it does get a lot serious way quicker.
And then maybe the combination Ari Fureta from Commonplace to World's Strongest is kind of similar. And Reborn and the legendary assassin gets reborn in another world as an aristocrat.
I would agree with the assassin.
Aristocrat.
The edgelord... Fudge, no. Edgelord is just too edgelord.
Yeah, but you know... It is along those lines. I'm obviously not gonna list every isekai that ever exists, because this is not similar to a lot of isekai. Like I wouldn't suggest, for example, Slow Life of a Cheat Pharmacist. That's not at all similar to this. But some of those shows I think you might enjoy if you genuinely enjoyed this show, depending on whether you want plot, comedy, or like the overpowered character specifically.
Spider. Yeah, Spider.
Oh, so I'm a spider, so what? Yeah. And that I guess that would follow more onto the Reborn, because you don't start very powerful there. She has to like build her way up.
I feel like if you throw a stone into a crowd of anime fans, you'll hit someone who can give you a recommendation similar to this show.
Well, which is why I kind of listed a few, but I don't feel the need to list every isekai on my list. Like, for example, I wouldn't list Duke's Daughter or Villainess here. That's not the route this goes down. Oh, yeah. This is not the Otome game isekai. Mm-hmm. But between those others that we listed, there's some pretty good recommendations as to what you might like. Realm, Knick-Knack, you have anything?
Konosuba is a recommendation.
Oh yes, most definitely. This is very Konosuba-like.
You've named every single isekai I could possibly recommend.
I'm not sure you know any more isekai other than ReZero.
Yeah, and I would not recommend ReZero out of this.
Yeah,
well, I mean, if you want something that's a little bit more serious and darker, then yeah, sure. But I don't think you're watching this in particular.
No. This is not very similar to ReZero, unfortunately.
It's not, but I'm just saying if there's someone out there who but honestly, if you're probably already into isekai, you're probably already watching the big main popular ones anyway. So.
Or you've at least heard of them, so you know if you'd like them or not.
And like, I'm definitely not pointing you to Tanya from this.
Yeah,
no. I would not. Even as much as I like Tanya, I would not point anyone towards Tanya with this.
Ishizoku reviewers.
I would not point you to Ishizoku reviewers from here.
If you
I don't know.
like
I'd
the
point you to
porn
Ishizoku reviewers
aspect
from
of
anywhere.
it, kind
Look,
of.
if you want porn, watch interspecies reviewers.
Yeah. Or just go watch. Or just go watch hentai.
Goddamn.
Yeah,
Look. Ishizoku Reviewers is not similar to anything. It just happens to be a porny show with isekai references.
Yeah.
If you're a man of culture, go watch Ishizoku Reviewers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'd say another one you could maybe compare this to, at least as far as shows like it are concerned, would be Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I suppose. I haven't watched all
It's
of
not
that
exactly
yet.
the same.
It's
But
not
it's got that same, I'm going to go on an adventure feel to it.
Maybe like the first season.
Yeah.
The later season's not really.
The first season is very similar to it. I haven't seen more than the first and second season, actually. So I can't really say for the third season. So
third season, they kind of get a bit more serious.
Yeah.
I'd
imagine.
Okay, but you wouldn't be going and watching the third season before the first two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's not an issue.
Yeah, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Fuck off. You wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. I know you. Nick Nack got a look on his face like he was going to say, maybe I will. I know you fucking won't.
Yeah. So, I think that covers probably most of the recommendations.
That covers recommendations. I think, unfortunately, Tsukimichi is coming out so late in the Isekai game that it's going to be very hard for you to watch this and find any part of it novel or new.
Yeah.
Unfortunately so, because it is such an early published work, like in terms of the actual physical book. But it's just coming out so late in the game after so many isekais have already been released that are very, very similar, that it's not anything special at this point. It's good enough for laughs. It has a fair bit of comedy. Like, there is a lot of comedy in this, but it's not really gonna trip any specific oh my god, this is an amazing new trope I've never heard of before.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much comedy there is at the start of Moonlit Fantasy when reading it. So that definitely was a nice, enjoyable part. That was a nice, fresh experience.
I liked the comedic bits of it. And, one of the things is, between the four of us, we all kind of watch different sorts of shows, And, obviously, Vorn and I read a lot of isekais. And things like isekai. And Nick Nack and Realm don't read nearly as much in that sort of genre.
Yeah.
I read 2 isekais.
You read 86
86 is not an isekai.
No.
No.
Well, have you actually started Realistic Hero?
No.
Okay. Wait, then what ones are you reading then? ReZero.
Maybe I'm a man that keeps my own secrets.
Fuck you.
Overlord? No. No, that's Realm.
No, I actually haven't read Overlord yet.
Oh, yeah. Who's reading Overlord? Or is
Nobody.
Oh.
Well, I'm technically reading it, but not actively. But I mean, with that being said, obviously, I knew that this show was not going to get 4 approvals, going into it. I actually was fairly certain going into this that Nick Nack wasn't going to give this an approval. I know you mentioned to me, earlier when you were on episode, 3 or 4, that you were maybe bordering on an approved, and I was like, that's not going to hold.
No, I've been on a mess since around episode 1, to be honest.
Yeah, you were never going to get up to an approve on this, because this is not really your style in any sort of show.
This one actually surprisingly nearly, from the start of the first episode when I first started watching it, I was like, oh god, I really hope this doesn't get much worse because otherwise it's going to be a shit. And thankfully it didn't get to that point. It just stayed a pretty hard meh for basically the entire rest of the season.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be hard. The thing is, this show doesn't have any genuinely hateable bits.
No.
Well, I hate the Goblin No-No.
Well, yes.
We
okay.
all hate Goblin No-No.
But everyone hates Goblin No-No. The Goblin No-No is a Goblin No-No. There's a reason why it's a Goblin No-No.
Yeah.
So, we all hate that. But I mean, outside of that, this show doesn't have any truly hateable parts.
Yeah.
It is, in every definition of the world, kind of an everyman show. This is a show that anyone could enjoy under the right circumstances, but very few people are going to actively love this.
It's a McDonald's hamburger.
Might I recommend what Top no Jutsu goes up this week?
What?
Oh, Nick.
Isekai protagonists.
Oh, wait.
Have we done that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess a couple of days you guys are going to see an isekai protagonist. Actually, you'll see it before this. Go check out that video. We actually have an interesting talk about MC Kun, Protag Kun, main character Kun syndrome, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think it might be time to draw. We've already drawn for the next week, and we're going to be watching Garden of Sinners.
Murder Speculation Part A.
From Knick Knack.
Is that the second movie, or is that... Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll be back with that next week. Since we're doing Garden of Sinners next, and we've kind of already seen the first movie in the Garden of Sinners series, which is, 12 or something movies?
I want to say it's 7 or 8. There's a few mini things that I'll probably couple together there, but...
Okay, so it's one movie we're going to be watching, and so we already kind of have opinions on the Garden of Sinners franchise. So I think Knick Knack wants us to go around and kind of talk about what might change our opinions, because we were all pretty negative.
Even I was negative at the last one, but I made that clear in the last time.
Yeah, on movie number 1. So why don't we start with Realm? I don't know how much you remember of movie number 1, but what would movie number 2 need to do to pull you in for Garden of Sinners?
Be less vague. Be less vague. Please.
Okay. I think for me, I need a slightly better sound balanced movie. I need the music not to blow out my ears while I'm fucking unable to hear the actual talking, first of all. And that's just a quality control thing. And then, I think I need more explanation. I don't like it when movies tell, not show. But unfortunately, Garden of Sinners movie 1 didn't show, not tell either. It just didn't either.
It didn't do anything.
It did.
There was no fucking setup.
It did not show and it did not tell. It was very confusing. I don't even remember
Who are these characters?
names.
Why do I care about them?
Exactly.
Literally, the only...
Did she just cut off her fucking arm?
Yeah.
Literally, the only reason I actually even know more now about Garden of Sinners is literally because the main character is a part of the greater Fate franchise, and I learned more about them from Fate than I did from the actual movie.
Yeah. Vorn?
I create my own story from it, so it needs an actual story explained rather than me creating my own story. Luckily, it's not as bad as Persona 4, where I couldn't piece together anything, but it definitely needs to explain something.
One question I want to ask is, how much do you guys actually remember of the movie?
Okay, my time to shine. I'm referencing the eidetic memory that I have sometimes, but not other times. So, we get introduced to basically what is modern-day-ish Japan, right? I assume not perfectly modern day, but...
1970s.
Okay,
Close
1970s Japan, right? Tokyo, big city, right? We're kind of following this set of people who I think are in some sort of amateur detective agency, or something like that. They investigate weird things. And the weird thing happening in this movie is these girls that are committing suicide off this very specific building. And there's been, I think, is it 7 or 13?
I don't remember.
Okay, it's 7 or 13.
The 7 lights and the 13 darknesses.
Yeah, they're committing suicide off this building in a very strange way. And so it's being investigated by this group of people. And in the end, what is found out is that it's all because of this one girl whose family originally owned this building, and she's dead, right? She committed suicide, and she's, right?
No, she wasn't dead, actually.
Okay, so she's alive, but she's been, luring people and, convincing them somehow to commit suicide to be her friends forever, or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, because you see, in the end, she's up there with, 7 or 14, wraiths floating around her, and she, uses them to try to attack people and that kind of thing. And then the main girl character has, a mechanical arm thing, a puppet arm or a mechanical arm, which they don't ever really explain.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much what was communicated in movie number 1.
Oh, you forgot about the brother being asleep due to some magical thingy.
Yeah.
Never really got more explanation on that.
Not a brother, but I will say you remember much more than I remembered on my first watch through.
Look, I do have a very good memory, especially for things that I do not enjoy, unfortunately.
That's a very unfortunate way to live your life.
I know, it's real bad. Every time I look at an onion, all I can remember is the fucking texture of it in my mouth. It's horrifying. Nails on a goddamn chalkboard. So that's what I remember, and I don't think Relm and Vorn remember any more than I do.
Oh, fuck no.
No,
you remember way more than I do.
Because I actually made my own story.
Vorn got it wrong about the person being the brother, though.
Yeah, but you made your own story that was incorrect.
Yeah,
that
I
doesn't
know.
count as remembering part of the plot.
You couldn't even remember the plot in the moment.
Plot.
There was a plot.
There was
a
a plot.
plot, not very good, but there was a plot.
Alright, well, I think that covers about the gist of it, so we'll see you next time with the Garden of Sinners Murder Speculation Part A. Try harder, everyone.
Like, comment, subscribe.